Welcome to Just Ask George. I'm David Wolf, affiliate banker with BH Capital Limited. I'm here with the founder and president, George Lovato Jr. George, welcome back.
My dad always appreciates that you stick the junior in.
I love the junior.
When he's listening to he listened to the other.
Somehow the junior
programs.
gives you seniority. I don't know. There's something that makes it sound. It's a big thing. It's a beautiful thing. This is our "Where is the economy going?" segment for Just Ask George, and to that I ask, which begs the question. Who's the sponsor of this segment? Before we get anywhere, and that is, of course, the Opportunity Engine. The Opportunity Engine, a unique service offered by BH Capital that allows businesses to use email marketing to further their agenda. What should we know about the uniqueness of the there's so many obstacles. The Opportunity Engine. How does it work?
Opportunity Engine is a email broadcasting mechanism, a business-to-business tool, very effective if you're a professional, if you're a business that needs to reach other businesses. Right. It is the quintessential tool to utilize, and it can be seen and demonstrated at the Opportunity at OpportunityEngineInc.com.
And say that fast 3 times, folks.
Boy, that's a mouthful.
So, meanwhile, in another part of town, George Lovato, where do you see the economy going right now? We're sitting together for those watching in the long tail. What is it? We're at September 16th today? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of 2011.
I think it was a few weeks ago I put out a blog, and it was sort of talking about the bottom of the stock market, and if we weren't there, we were certainly looking at it and what that meant. I've consistently said that the market is overpriced above 10,005. And I think that's really kind of where we need to be at this point in time.
It's kind of parity for you, yeah.
Where, you start looking at the jobs report, you start looking at everything, and these are all things that affect business people like us.
Absolutely.
Okay? We need to pay attention to these things. We can't just sit there on the sidelines and say, oh, that's stuff in the Wall Street Journal, that doesn't matter. Oh, that's stuff on Fox News, I don't want to watch it. There's a heartbeat to our economy, and we really need to listen closely to it right now. I think that come election, there will be some significant changes. I think there's just a lack of confidence in government. I think there's a lack of confidence in the growth of the economy. I think and that's just from all of us. It's not just consumers, it's business people.
Okay.
And I'm not making providing a political opinion at all.
Okay.
I just think that, when we hearken back, and this really starts to date us now when we talk about the days of Jimmy Carter. Yes. But, interest rates were through the roof back then, and there was no confidence from the business owner and from the consumer at that point in time, and government just didn't know what to do. They were very indecisive. Here comes Ronald Reagan. He has a solution, trickle-down economics. He wants to shrink government. He wants to open up the doors, so to speak, when it came to using tax incentive as capital incentive for business growth. And
yes.
There were investment tax credit, accelerated depreciation. All these tools were deployed at that point in time, and it was just clicking off. The economy began to spring back. And when we look back at that period of time, we're kind of there again. Everything comes back. There are no new ideas.
There are the cycles.
History repeats itself. And this is one of those points where history is definitely repeating itself, because instead of Jimmy Carter yelling at the public and saying we're in a total condition of malaise, I don't know if you remember that famous speech.
Yes.
And we actually weren't. We were in shock, wondering when are you going to do something?
Right.
It wasn't malaise. He just used the wrong word. We're there again. This is a total lack of business, commerce, the economy, consumers, lack of confidence in the government's ability to change things around.
Is there a prescription? I mean, many feel that the European collapse is going to play a larger and larger part in what we're able to do here. In terms of stimulating, and I don't mean government stimulus necessarily, I just mean in terms of the economy being able to stimulate itself.
Using the paddles.
Thank you. Yeah, right. From a free market even. I mean,
sure.
What's it going to do to capital flows, and how is this all going to affect us?
Talking about the potential of whether Europe can or will collapse. I mean, there's a potential for any economy in the world.
That's right.
I think that some of the smartest economists and bankers live and breathe over in Europe. And so I think they're smart enough, and I think the governments are poised right now, along with the intellectuals and the people in the know, that they are going to work diligently at coming up with better solutions by using us as the benchmark of what we went through and what not to do.
Okay, sure.
So let's not take all this money and give it to banks and then don't put any
unbelievable,
any conditions on it, and actually making it go to work.
That's a big hello.
Yeah, hey. And so
has that ever happened before, by the way?
I don't think so. I
mean, we've never had huge amounts of capital to save
thrust
banks.
At us,
thrust at banks, and then nothing from there. What?
Well,
because
it was sort of crazy. I mean, you think about that point in time, and here, we're going to give you trillions of dollars collectively to the biggest institutions in the country, and no conditions on it. But it's just going to make the world feel better. It didn't. It just didn't.
No,
it was misplaced money that could have been, and then, of course, let's talk about stimulus. I mean, so many off-ramp projects, on interstate highways. The people that benefited by that were the guys pushing the shovel and working the D9 Caterpillar, moving the dirt around. But that's gone. It did something for our infrastructure, but it really, the sort of blip on the EKG was very short-lived. We need longer term. We've got to invest. We do have to invest in infrastructure, but we do need to invest in alternative energy. Recently in the news.
I mean, from the standpoint of the government.
Yeah, there needs to be. They don't need to put cash into things. Okay, they have this thing called tax incentive, which they can be very creative with. And tax incentives should be utilized as capital. That should be given to the entrepreneur, to the business owner.
That's the currency
that
we give them.
Go back, maybe look at investment tax credit again. Guess what happens when we buy equipment? A business that manufactures that equipment benefits, and so do the workers that are there.
Absolutely.
What about some other kind of tax incentive for hiring people? There's
the employee side
ways,
of it.
As many hairs as I have in my head.
And I know we're running out of time, but what do you say to the manufacturing business, let's say, that can only really make money, or they say they can only make money the way they'd like to see the economics of their company if they offshore the production? I mean, what do you say what's your opinion on
Look, I was very involved in the first days post-NAFTA. And what I was able to do with one of my clients is go over the border in Mexico, find cattle growers, take those cattle growers, connect them with processing plants, get a USDA stamp on that meat, and ship that meat over to the United States. And guess what? It worked. And so I see the proliferation of jobs someplace else as an opportunity for us. It's not. It doesn't have the potential to hurt us unless we mistreat it. But we've stopped being a country of production and manufacturing,
making things.
Yeah, now we're sort of leading the world in the world of social media.
How about that, folks?
It's become its own industry.
It's still ideas and IP and service industries, maybe.
Right, and I think we have a hungry workforce out there. I think we have people that want to go back to work. And I've said recently that I want to open an office as soon as available in Cuba.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. Let me just. It's just
Please.
A quick sort of synopsis. Yeah. Cuba just fired 500,000 government workers because they had to shrink their government. And these are educated people for the most part. So now there's a ready, educated workforce sitting in the island of Cuba, and it's just a few miles offshore. So guess what? They need infrastructure. They need new construction. They need new cars. The 57 Chevy is still the #1 seller over there.
You're kidding.
And so we've got a ready workforce. That's a perfect example. We have a ready workforce here.
Right.
I mean, I forget what the numbers are currently in terms of the millions out of work.
You're talking about the auto and sort of the manufacturing sectors that we have this sort of the displaced
malaise.
Thank you. The displaced peanut worker.
Yeah. So you've got a ready workforce here in the United States. I think we're primed to take advantage of putting manufacturing as part of our economic model back in place. I think that you've got Central America, you've got certainly have Cuba when we can begin to do business with them.
Yeah.
They're prime. I think this whole part of the world is ready.
Okay.
And so I think the look ahead is this. Election time, I think things have to change. I think we need a government that will instill confidence in the American workforce and in the American entrepreneur, the business person that's out there trying to keep his business together.
Yep.
And I think deregulation is a key word or words. I think that we need to look at tax incentive as a form of capital to stimulate business. We don't need stimulus dollars. $270 isn't going to do anything for you.
No.
And it's not going to do anything for the guy that owns 6 dry cleaners.
It's a ridiculous thing to throw money at.
Yeah. Let's look at this longer term. And if we shrink government, then guess what? Our expenses are less. So we don't have as many dollars that we have to pull in from a tax base. I mean, shrink it. Shift it, again. We need Don White to tell us how to move from the P&L onto the
exactly.
balance.
I love that. George Lovato Jr., BH Capital Limited. That's bhcapitalltd.com. This segment, Where is the Economy Growing? On Just Ask George, brought to you by the Opportunity Engine to help you with your email marketing. That's opportunityengine.inc.com. We'll catch you next time on Just Ask George. You rock.
Thanks, brother.
All right.